gate. Do it now, act faster and lie to yourself. Never heavy with the consequence you're running from. Never think about the way it was. We can dress it up in red if that's how you want it. But you'd rather get out of night. We'll still hold you back from the edge. I will wait with you till the end if that's how you want it. I'll be your audience and I will still hold you back from the edge. We can dress it up in red if that's how you want it. But you would rather get out and I will still hold you back from the edge. I will wait with you till the end if that's how you want it. I'll be your audience and I will still hold you back from the It's just the way I can't keep you honest like you're coming clean. It's just the way you seem to be addicted to leaving me. It's just the way now that I can't sleep at night. Now that you're gone, it's just the way you don't know which direction I was coming from. It's just the way I can't seem to tell apart all of your rights from wrongs. It's just the way now that I am. Now
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rick's Hot Sauce Late Model Series. We're live here from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for the Miller Racing Graphics Summer Showdown 100 for race number 2 of the Rick's Hot Sauce Late Model Series playoffs. We're 2 races in right now, 3 more left after tonight. Live in Myrtle Beach. I'm your lead announcer, Hunter Sleppy. Jake, my right-hand man, can't be with us tonight. Still waiting on Ryan Swan to come in. He's going to stop by, make an appearance, and watch the action with us. So right now, we have qualifying underway for the Miller Racing Graphics Summer Showdown 100. And joining me, as always, is Harold Darner, our producer. Harold, how's it going?
Hey, not too bad. We're here at Myrtle Beach, man. It's kind of cool to actually see the track back up and running.
Yeah, last year was the last year of racing at the track before it got torn down, but only slightly because the plans that were made for the future of Myrtle Beach, they fell through, so now the track is kind of just sitting in ruins, all torn up like Nazareth. There you see we have qualifying on the screen. We got about 3 minutes left. Currently 12 cars on the track right now. Here's the 37 Cliff Mullins, one of our playoff contenders. Heading into tonight as he rolls through turns 3 and 4. He's going to come with a 20.443. That's good enough for third. Quickest right now as he'll spin the car out and hit the wall. Mullins currently in a 3-way tie for 8th in the playoff standings right now. However, that can all change tonight. After a unfortunate race at South Boston, that's going to put him in a deep hole right now. He could get himself out of it depending on how tonight goes. There you see the only 2 cars that have yet to make lap times are Ed Morris Sr. and James Shanewolf. There's Johnny Collier on the track right now. He's put down a 20.582. He's coming off turn 4, got close to clipping the wall, and then last lap is not quicker than the first, so that time will stand. Currently, Michael Leipzig pole sitter, but we got 2 minutes left, still with 2 cars yet to qualify. And speaking of 2s, looks like we're down 2 playoff drivers for tonight. Looks like the 84 of Jeremy Rigney and the 27 of Sebastian Taylor not in tonight, and that's going to play crucial to the guys that did make tonight's race, because as you see in the standings, James Shanewolf currently leads the way with a 2-point cushion over Jacob York. And then Matthew Robinson is third, 6 points back, and then there's a tie for 4th between Johnny Collier and Carter Coop. Carter Coop was a late addition into the playoffs because Jerry Glenn was unable to make it last week, and Carter Coop was going to be in for the next 5 races, so they decided to put him in the playoffs, and right now he's currently tied for 4th. Dawson Miller sitting in the middle spots, 6th in the standings, and then Sebastian Taylor, who's not in tonight, 7th. He's going to drop quite a bit. Jeremy Knapp and Cliff Mullins going to benefit from it. Also, Rick Ward. There's Jeremy Rigney. He's 11th in the standings. He will fall back as well. And Ed Morris Sr. currently sitting at the bottom of the playoff contenders. See, there's their stats on the year as well. And so we got 40 seconds left. So one of Shanewolf puts it second on the charts with a 20.355. Leaving the only car, Ed Morris Sr., to not go out and qualify. So we're looking here. Jacob York is currently 11th fastest, but he's got a 30-second lap time down. We saw in the practice session him and Dawson Miller, Carter Coop even, they've smacked the wall and they flipped in more ways than I can even fathom at this racetrack.
That could be one of those settings there. They're trying to actually get all their damage out early, you know.
That could be the case because they were flipping in all over the place. They were flipping on the front stretch. They were flipping inside of the backstretch pit wall. And yeah, so that's not a good look there for Jacob York right now. However, that could change in the heat as qualifying has come to a close here at Myrtle Beach. And Michael Leip currently sitting on the pole right now, followed by James Shanewolf second, Matthew Robinson third, Carter Coop fourth, Cliff Mullins rounding out the top 5. Then the rest of the top 10, Dawson Miller 6th, Rick Ward 7th, Jeremy Knapp 8th, Johnny Collier 9th, Caleb Steimer 10th, and the other 2, Jacob York and Ed Morris Sr. So 12 cars for tonight. 2 playoff drivers out, the 84 of Jeremy Rigney and the 27 of Sebastian Taylor. And the rest of the playoff drivers will benefit from their absence. So we are in the 15 minute, but 14 minutes left now in the drivers' meeting, basically telling the drivers what they can and cannot do. And I would imagine that because it's the playoffs, that it's going to be more in-depth and more crucial than ever as we progress to the end of the season. So we're in race number 2 of the 5-race playoffs for the Rick Satsas Late Model Series. Last week, we were in South Boston for the Country Road Sports Cars 100. And in case you weren't able to catch the race last week, got a little bit of a highlight clip for you. Check it.
The Country Road Sports Cars 100 was the first of 5 playoff races for the Rick Satsas Late Model Series in South Boston. Here are the playoff standings going into the race. You have Johnny Collier, Jeremy Knapp, Dawson Miller, Ed Morris Sr., Cliff Mullins, Jeremy Rigney, Matthew Robinson, James Shanewolf, Sebastian Taylor, Rick Ward, and Jacob York. Now the 12th driver, Jerry Glenn, he is not able to participate in all 5 playoff races. So the next driver that would be able to partake in the 5 playoff races would be Carter Coop. So Carter Coop is in the playoffs as well. Starting off with highlights from the first heat race, you have an incident with Jacob York getting into Pierce Maffitt, collecting Caleb Steimer as they spin towards pit road. And then a lap later, the leader, Sebastian Taylor, also collects himself in a wreck, nearly hitting the pit wall, spins to avoid hitting it, and that gives the stage win to James Shanewolf, the first heat win of the night. Now, the second heat was a close battle between Jeremy Knapp and Michael Leip, but Leip was unable to push the bumper of Jeremy Knapp, and Knapp would go on to win the second heat. Then we would transition into our 100-lap main event. The green flag would fly, and the first of 5 playoff races would be underway, but not for long, as Dawson Miller gets into the back of Jeremy Rigney in turn 3, spins him sideways for the first caution. On lap 22, the leaders of Shanewolf and Leip would catch lap traffic, being the 14 of Ed Morris Sr., and with how tight the track was, it was difficult for them to get by, and it stacked the field up, and a few laps later, Ed Morris Sr. would play into extreme effect as he would get loose on the bottom, forcing the leader of Shanewolf to go to the outside. Eventually, Ed Morris Sr. would create a domino effect as he would get into Jeremy Knapp, and that would get the field squiggly behind him. Ed Morris would still keep his line on the bottom, and the stack-up would create a crash, causing Carter Coop to go sideways, collecting the 37 of Cliff Mullins, which surprisingly did not bring out a caution until a little bit later when Jeremy Knapp got his revenge on Ed Morris Sr., dumps him in the middle of turn 2, finishes the job off right into the pit wall. The next caution would come out for the 84 of Jeremy Rigney, getting a tap from Carter Coop, getting him a little squirrely. He would slam into the inside wall, and that would be the end of his day. Fast forward to 10 laps to go, when the caution would fly once more for the 27 of Sebastian Taylor, in which he would have an internet issue where he would lag and reappear onto the racetrack sideways in front of the field, and that would be the end of the day for Sebastian Taylor. 4 laps to go, the restart, 3-wide move by the 11 of Pierce Maffitt, takes the second spot away. The 1 of Shanewolf didn't like that, as he would set himself and the 11 up the track into 3 and 4 as the 40 of Michael Robinson would pull away. But Shane Wolf would get back into the 11 once more, putting him up the track in the wall. He'd come back down into the 52 of Carter Coop, and it would send his car flipping. Then sets up a green-white checkered as Matthew Robinson in the 40 car looked like he would have the win. But the 26 of Michael Leip makes it 3 wide heading into turn 3, causing the 40 of Robinson to move up high. He comes back down low, nearly turns himself, and then it's just chaos on the front stretch as Shane Wolf would scoot by on the white flag, cars spinning everywhere, hitting the wall all over the place. Absolute chaos on the last lap at South Boston, but it's the one of James Shane Wolf that would pull through and get the win in the first playoff race in the Rick South Late Model Series. Race number 2 of the playoffs is just around the corner as we get ready for the green flag here in Myrtle Beach. Time to throw it back up to you, Hunter.
Thanks, Hunter. And that is all you missed last week in a condensed 5-minute highlight reel from South Boston. Harold, what were your thoughts last week as the playoffs got underway?
Well, these guys definitely were pushing and shoving quite a bit last week at South Boston, as we saw in that replay. A lot of bumpers and a lot of sliding around, and it looked like in practice today that we might see more of the same with coming off corners. The guys might be getting the gas a little bit too soon and getting their cars coming around from the right side.
Yeah, the exit of turn 2 and turn 4 were crucial last week, and they're going to be crucial this week as well. As Harold mentioned earlier in practice, we saw the 56 of Dawson Miller, 25 Jacob Gork, and the 52 of Carter Coop. Those 3 specifically, they were all over the place coming out of the exit of the corners, and sometimes even on the entries going into turn 1, where they would get a little bit too loose and then their car would just smack the outside wall. So you're going to have to take it easy in the early goings, as last week Dawson Miller created the first yellow on lap 1 in turn 3. So don't think he'll hit Jeremy Rigney, though, but he will. Looks like he's going to start behind Carter Coop, so he's got to keep it off Carter Coop on this original start.
Like you said, we have the 2 heat races to set up the grid for the 100 laps here, and then not normally a thing for the Extreme Motorsports Rick's Hot Sauce Late Model Series. We were having issues with lap traffic last week.
Yeah, lap traffic played a big factor into it as well because of how tight South Boston is, because the inside wall is pushed so close to the racetrack. You basically had little to no room to get past the lap car, and you'd see the leaders go on the outsides of Ed Morris Sr. And Ed Morris getting into Jeremy Knapp, that created the whole bottleneck effect and creating the crash involving Carter Coop and Cliff Mullins. And that's what led to Jeremy Knapp taking out Ed Morris Sr. A little bit later, creating another caution and stacking the field back up. So don't believe we'll see that same issue, although in turns 1 and 2, we do have, as you mentioned, little turtles or little bumps, as I like to call it. It's basically like a divider for the cars coming out of pit road so they don't merge onto the racetrack. We could see some drivers clip that tonight, coming out of pit road or going through 1 and 2 on the main track. We'll have to keep an eye on that, though, as the night rolls on. Take a look at our weather presented by Lottie'sTravelWorld.com for the Miller Racing Graphics Summer Showdown. Partly cloudy, even though it's dark. The air temp 77, the track temp 79, humidity 56%, and our good old friend, the winds from the north at 2 miles an hour. Back for more. Does not get old.
It's funny how you always bring up the 2 miles an hour. In the world of air traffic control, we just say the winds are calm at that speed. We don't really talk to them until they get to over. We don't talk about winds until they're over 3 knots, which is about 5.5, 6 miles an hour.
And the waters are calm right now off the coast of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Very popular destination for travelers and ongoers to soak up some sun, and then maybe catch a race under the lights.
And as I think you and I were talking about this track a couple of days ago or a couple weeks ago, and this track was set back actually pretty far from the actual coastline. Good 20 minutes, 30 minutes back inland.
Yeah, not really sure why they pushed it so far out. I guess they didn't want to ride alongside the beach in case of flooding or hurricanes, because it does flood, and there are hurricanes that pop up every now and then through the south, and it's not too far off from Florida, so I would assume they'd want to keep it off coast just to avoid it from flooding. However, last year was the last year of operation at the racetrack, and they went to tear up the racetrack because they were going to put in, I guess, condos or condominiums or new housing for the people of Myrtle Beach, people to move into, and that deal ended up falling through. So right now the racetrack is currently sitting in a state like Nazareth was in the early going, where the racetrack is torn up, the grandstands are gone, flag stands gone, and who knows what's going to happen if they end up buying the racetrack back. Could see racing there again, or a new project goes up, or they just tear down the track completely and just leave it as grass for the moment. Would like to see racing come back to Myrtle Beach. Don't know if it will happen or not, but I would like to see that happen.
Yeah, I just wonder if they would do the same thing they're doing in North Carolina with using all that extra money the state has. They're pumping in millions of dollars into North Wilkesboro, Charlotte, and Rockingham.
Yeah, it's really interesting seeing them pour money into those two tracks specifically, Rockingham and North Wilkesboro. North Wilkesboro could see new life, and as Dale Jr. mentioned in one of his live streams on Twitch last year, he said that they would have to get basically brand new everything, including the grandstands, which some people were like, oh, well, they had the seats there. They just got to repave the track and all this and all that. But it's not the case, and those seats are not good enough for proper racing for people to sit on. And now they're going to have to, well, they were flirting with SRX Twitter yesterday, the Superstar Racing Experience. They were flirting with them yesterday after the SRX Twitter account asked, hey, what are you guys doing next year? And then the North Wilkesboro account responded back, oh, we might have some plans next year. Just hinting at the idea of SRX going to North Wilkesboro. Could see a rejuvenation of the racetrack.
The Rockingham has been doing racing, just but lower level racing. Haven't had anything in the heavy NASCAR circuits in quite some time, but the track and the drag strip are still open.
Yeah, they're still open, and I would assume that with I believe it's 10 million or 15 million that's going into the track, could see that going towards possibly new grandstands, definitely rejuvenating the racetrack. I don't believe it needs a repave. It might, but that 10 million is definitely going to help bring racing back in Rockingham.
Yeah, Rockingham was a great track. One of the things, I don't know if you've not been there, I've actually been to the track. Coming from the parking lot, going to the grandstands is a nice large hump that you got to walk up. It's a nice. I did have a VIP lanyard the last time I was there, and one of the golf carts saw me, my wife, and my daughter, kind of making our trek up the hill, and he's like, "Come on, jump on! You guys are VIPs." Took us up to the back of the grandstands.
Yeah, I would imagine, or I would like to see North Wilkesboro and Rockingham make their comeback. Some in racing, but others NASCAR. Like to see NASCAR come back to those tracks, and who knows, it could happen too to south of them in South Carolina, Myrtle Beach Speedway. Got about 15 seconds left before our heat races of the night. It's going to be a wild one. Got race number 2 of the Rick's Hot Sauce Late Model Series. Last week we were in South Boston. Tonight we are in Myrtle Beach. And next week we are at Milwaukee for the Milwaukee Mile. There we go. We're going to grid them up. And this is all one big heat because there are only 12 cars in the field. If there are more than 12, then we would have multiple heats, but it is just 12, so we'll have one heat. So, your starting grid presented by Country Road Sports Cards. The front row will consist of Michael Leip starting on the pole, and on his outside, James Shanewolf. Row 2, it will be Matthew Robinson in the 40 and Carter Coop in the 52. Row 3 will be Cliff Mullins in the 37 and Dawson Miller in the 56. Row 4, Rick Ward in the 34 and Jeremy Knapp in the 20. Row 5 will have Johnny Collier in the 33 and Caleb Steimer in the 36. And in the last row will be Jacob York in the 25 and Ed Moore Sr. in the 14. All right, just waiting on the pace car to get the cars rolling off pit road.
This is basically be a precursor to the 100-lap race then.
They very well could be, and like we saw last week in South Boston, we saw a couple late restarts in which scenarios like the heat race right now, or the heat race last week, it was kind of practice to some of these guys. It's like a practice run, like, oh, okay, this could be the end of the race. Got to put myself in a good situation, get through the corners right, and we had 2 late restarts, and there was just chaos all over for those last 2 restarts. We're still trying to get the, was that the 52 of Carter Coop?
We have a few drivers that haven't taken a grid. Robinson, Coop, Miller, and Steimer.
Right.
There's Coop just popped in.
Yep, Coop is in.
It should be about any second now that they'll close entry to the, and then we'll get off here. Here we go. There's those turtles we were talking about.
Yep, the turtles, the little bumps. You'll see some drivers go through it now, but later on in the race, we will not see that. And I don't believe Dawson Miller has made it to his heat because it's still showing him in pit road.
Yep, Dawson Miller is not on the racetrack. So that'll issue him, if he does come in, then he'll be a lap down or so. We might put him in the back for the start of the race tonight.
Very well could be, and he's still on pit road right now. Still waiting on our good friend Ryan Swan to make an appearance tonight in the broadcast booth. So there goes the pace car going down pit road. Pit road entry is in turn 3. Going to be the 26 of Michael Leip and the 1 of James Shanewolf on the front row. They're going to lead us to green here for Miller Racing Graphics heat number 1.
They stretched out pretty quick between Leip and Shanewolf.
Oh, we already got a spin. So 37 to Cliff Mullins. He spun around early. It looks like everyone's still going except for the 37. Now, there are no yellows in the heat race. So what you see is what you get. So if you spin out or wreck out, you're basically at the back for the beginning of the races. There you see the smoke from 37 to Cliff Mullins, who spun out very early. There you'll see those guys hug the turn 3 and 4 inside wall. The inside line is the preferred line all the way around this racetrack. Back here you see the battle for third heating up. Shane will put up the fastest lap. It's between the 40 of Robinson, the 52 of Carter Coop, and just behind those two, it's the 20 of Jeremy Knapp. Looks like the 40 of Robinson got wide, might have clipped the wall a little bit. Here comes Coop on the bottom. He's going to take that third spot. And Michael Leip just put up the fastest lap of the race. Still side by side here as Coop on the bottom, Robinson up top, Knapp in pursuit.
These three here are the closest thing going on the racetrack, because the leader is off to almost a second lead over Shanewolf.
Yep, and the 40 of Robinson still blinking in and out. He's going to lose that third spot now, and could lose fourth as the 20 of Knapp was underneath him. Now 40 of Robinson goes underneath the 52 of Coop, trying to poke his nose down in there. A little bit of contact between the two. Now that pushes Coop up the racetrack with Robinson out to his inside. The 20 of Knapp is there as well as we've hit the final lap of the heat race. The battle for third still goes on, but it's been the 26 of Michael Light. He's going to come through turns 3 and 4 for the final time in this heat, and he will win Miller Racing Graphics heat number 1, followed by James Shanwolf right behind him. And the battle for third looks like it's going to go to the 40 of Matthew Robinson. Or no, Carter Coop. Nope, it's showing Matthew Robinson. It flashed Carter Coop for a second there in third, but Matthew Robinson gets third, Carter Coop fourth, and Jeremy Knapp in the top 5. The rest of the field going to be Jacob York, Caleb Steimer, Johnny Collier, Adam Moore Sr., Rick Ward, Cliff Mullins, and then Austin Miller in the 12th spot. Did not make it out for the heat. Going to be interesting to see if he even makes it out for the race. And here is our starting grid for the Country Road Sports Cars 100, presented by Country Road Sports Cars. The front row will be Michael Lipe and James Shanwolf, followed by Matthew Robinson and Carter Coop in row 2. In the row behind him, row 3, will be Jeremy Knapp and Jacob York. Row 4, Caleb Steimer and Johnny Collier. Row 5, Ed Moore Sr. and Rick Ward. And the last, but not least, Cliff Mullins in the 37 and Dawson Miller in the 56. Right.
Waiting on Steimer and Robinson to make their way off into their cars sitting in the pit lane.
I was just going to say, I see in the background there the 56 of Dawson Miller. He is in pit road, so it looks like he had to miss the heat.
Look, everybody has made. Yep, everybody made the main event. That's good.
All right, now just before we take the green flag, want to make our picks. Harold, you go first.
Well, let's see. Let's go with Carter Coop in the 52.
Carter Coop in the 52 for you. I'm going to go with the 25 of Jacob York. I feel like he's got good speed in the car, and I think that he'll get the job done. As it looks like 36 of Caleb Steimer is still on pit road. And this broadcast booth just got a little bit heavier. No offense, Ryan Swan's here.
What's going on, guys? It's glad to be back in the booth. I think this is my third or fourth race called. Before we take the green, I'm gonna take Lipe. Let's see. This is the first time I've seen him live in the booth. So I'm gonna stick with it and see if we can take off with this one.
It's life, not Lipe, but
whatever. Same deal.
Enthusiasm.
Same deal.
All right,
go green.
Yep, the pace car's on pit road. Michael Lipe and James Shanwolf going to lead the field to green for the Miller Racing Graphics Summer Showdown 100. See the cars rolling off through turns 1 and 2. Top 2 single file. Robinson underneath Coop, nearly sideways there on the backstretch. Carter Coop was. Now Jacob York looking like he'll take the 4th spot away. Carter Coop going to get tucked in line right behind him. And leading the first lap is the 26 of Michael Lipe.
Side-by-side battle back here between, I believe it's Mullins and I want to say Ed Moore Sr. possibly. Just side-by-side for a little bit. I'm not sure who came out on top of that one.
Yeah, well, right now it's got Mullins ahead of Ed Moore Sr. And right now it's got James Shanwolf as the fastest car on the racetrack that time by. As we mentioned earlier, you'll see the preferred line, the drivers hugging the inside wall through turns 3 and 4. That's the preferred line, and you won't see them in 1 and 2 as we have a battle for the lead now. The 1 is Shanwolf underneath the 26 of Michael Lipe. Lipe is not a playoff driver, and he's here to play spoiler. So you see the 1 is Shanwolf there with the preferred line. We're going to ride on the bumper cam here of Matthew Robinson in the 40.
Just been watching the last couple weeks on this broadcast here. I believe Lipe's just kind of showed up within the last 4 or 5 weeks. And he's really showed his muscle so far, I believe. Didn't he win last weekend?
His first race was New Hampshire, and he went ahead and stole the show there.
Awesome.
His first start, he looked like a veteran.
looks like he's coming in trying to play the spoiler for some of these playoff guys who want to get a victory.
Oh yeah, definitely played spoiler last week and resulting in the victory of James Shanewolf. So there you see the battle for third heating up. Jacob York in the 25 getting closer to the 40 of Robinson, who's slowly getting closer to this main group of Lipe and Shanewolf. And in the top 5, Carter Coop with 20 of Jeremy Knapp on his bumper. So essentially a 6-car train here. There you see the 40 of Robinson still blinking in and out. Saw that the last couple of weeks and saw it earlier in tonight's heat. So there you see those bumps. You see the 40 of Robinson clip over those bumps. That's the only reason they cannot hug the wall, the inside wall through 1 and 2. Because of those inside bumps, it separates the pit exit and the racing surface for cars coming out of pit road. There in the back, you see Jeremy Knapp going underneath the 52 of Carter Coop. That's for the 5th spot. Coop going to get a little loose there through turn 2 and give the 5th spot to Jeremy Knapp. Brian, I gotta ask, what's your favorite part about this racetrack, Myrtle Beach?
It's one of the better short tracks in America. You know, it's sad to see it be tore down. Be down in real life, but on this race or on the iRacing servers, I mean, it's very fun. You'll see them all kind of do like they're doing, drift to the bottom. Somebody's got to slip up and make a mistake for you to get by. But also the cool part about it is the history. You know, you'd see somebody like Jeremy Knapp or even Coop or Cliff Mullen, somebody back in the back. You know, Dale Jr. got his first win here, so hey, you never know. Get their first win, and I believe Extreme altogether right here tonight, so it'd be pretty neat.
Yeah, it could very well happen here as the 37 of Mullins has progressed throughout the season, and I feel like if we get a couple of yellows, we'll see some drivers stay out and see how the tire wear plays into effect. Although I did talk with Jacob York just before he got into his practice session. He said that tires will be a huge factor. When the first yellow comes out, you should expect everyone to come in and get on those fresh set of tires.
He looks like he's getting a little bit of pressure from the 20 of Jeremy Knapp here. Looks like he's kind of caught up to him rather quickly. He looks like he's all over the back bumper of the 25, so I don't know if that 25 car is already fading away a little bit or what exactly is going on, but he seems to be drifting backwards.
And what we saw in practice, 25 of Jacob York was finding new ways to flip over a race car. He was a lot of slip and sliding along with the 52 of Coop and the 56 of Dawson Miller. And right now it's starting to look like he might have worn his tires out a little bit too much. We see that often here, where in the early runs you'll see the drivers who use their stuff up slowly start to fade to the back, and the ones that save their tires slowly make their way to the front.
Like I say, I normally, whenever I'd run ARCA series, I know James Shanewolf, he's normally rather pretty decent with saving up his tires, and Matthew Robinson as well. So I wouldn't be surprised at all. I believe Matthew just went to second. To see those two kind of inch a little bit closer to Michael Lipe. So.
Lipe's actually inching a little way away from them. He's in stretches lead out to over 1.3 seconds, and yes, Robinson did take the second spot away from James Shanewolf. Could be Shanewolf saving his tires a little more than the 40 Robinson, as you mentioned. Those two really good at saving their tires.
You know, Hunter, you mentioned about tires. We've seen with Lipe. Lipe seems to like to run late and keep those tires in that pit stall as long as he can.
Well, the last 2 weeks I've seen him pit at around the halfway point, split it up 50-50 with the tires, and it's played into his favor. He won in New Hampshire, and then he got a top 5 finish last week at South Boston, and we'll have to see what happens tonight. Now, those pit stops were made under caution. This race goes green 50 laps. Don't know if he'll be making the pit stop there on lap 50 or not. There you see the 20 of Knapp still closing in on the bumper of Jacob York. It's about for 16 up in the back. Cliff Mullins down on the bottom below Carter Coop. Looks like Coop's going to shut the door for the moment, but the 37 of Mullins is slowly creeping up. There you see the 52 of Coop has a higher exit through turns 4, and that allows 37 of Mullins to peek his nose in and get a little bit of clean air before they go down the front stretch. Essentially the same deal here with the 25 of Jacob York and the 20 of Jeremy Knapp. There you see that battle still heating up.
Very interesting to see some of these guys who have kind of already fell back points a little bit, like Edmore Senior, Rigney. I don't see Rigney in here.
No, Rigney is not in, and neither is Sebastian Taylor. Those are the two playoff drivers that are going to lose crucial points tonight. So the driver that's going to lose a crucial spot. Here's the 52 of Carter Kubez to his inside. It's the 37 of Cliff Mullins. Push him up to the 6th spot right now, although he hasn't cleared him quite yet, but going into turn 1. 52 of Coop going to settle in behind the 37 of Mullins as they got close to him, those turtles.
You know, I've actually heard a couple people say that Cliff Mullins is one of the cleanest drivers on this circuit. So it must be pretty fun riding around and racing him. I seen Carter pretty much gave him that spot pretty easy there. But I heard earlier today a couple guys in the chat or whatnot said that he was one of the easier guys to get around. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, see if maybe he can lead that some way.
There you see the 14 of Edmore Senior had quite a bit of run-ins last week at the South Boston race, the Country Road Sports Cars 100. He definitely got into Jeremy Knapp, and he didn't make it easy for the leaders to pass him. And just in front of him, you saw the 56 of Dawson Miller and the Miller Racing Graphics number 56, as here's the battle for 4th, still heating up between the 20 of Jeremy Knapp and the other Miller Racing Graphics car, 25 of Jacob York. There you see Knapp driving it in really deep through 1 and 2, and York kind of gets that run off of turn 2 to set him up for 3 and 4. We mentioned this, the Miller Racing Graphics number 25, and would like to thank Miller Racing Graphics for sponsoring tonight's race here at South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, for the Miller Racing Graphics Summer Showdown 100. Kind of a home track race for Miller Racing Graphics, especially Dawson Miller. So he's supporting those Miller Racing Graphics colors. And the 25 of Jacob York as well, and the 52 of Carter Coop. So we have 3 Miller Racing Graphic cars here tonight.
I heard you can get 50% off of your first paints game if you go visit your Facebook page.
Yep, facebook.com/MillerSimGraphics. Miller Racing Graphics, your #1 source for iRacing graphics, logos, and more. And in tonight's race, it's a $50 to win feature. So the feature right now, it's $50 to win. So Michael Leip currently got that $50 above his head right now, and everybody else trying to hunt him down for it. But if the 56 of Dawson Miller wins it, then he gets to keep the $50.
I'll tell you what, just looking at our ticker on the left side of the screen, this Leip right here is really putting it on these boys the last couple laps. I think he's doing pretty well conserving his tires. If you'll see it down the straightaway, he gains at least a 10th a lap.
You think he's conserving, or do you think he's using his tires too much?
I mean, if you can be fast and have a rhythm and whatnot, and not wear him out too. It don't look like he's pushing too hard, but I think he's just got it figured out where he can ride and do his thing and still be fast.
We're riding on board with the 26 of Michael Leip. He's slowly catching the lap car of Caleb Steimer. Steimer did not get off pit road at the original start. However, he's not a lap down yet. So 26 of Life still hunting him down.
Timer's car looks.
Oh, he just hit the wall. Yep. Smacked the wall going through 1 and 2, and 26 of Life going to pass him clean. No yellow yet. We're about 35 laps down. Got about 65 to go in the Miller Racing Graphics Summer Showdown 100.
Don't think Steimer's car is handling just where it needs to be. I guess he stayed on pit road a little bit longer to get some adjustments or something. But it needs a little bit of a turn of events to get back on the track here. Not looking too hot for the 36.
Oh, the 25 of York just shot up the track. Here comes the 20 of Knapp on his inside with the 37 of Mullins in hot pursuit. York with a higher approach through turn 1, and Knapp with the lower approach. Mullins right behind him. Give the 4th spot to Jeremy Knapp, but not quite. Here comes Jacob York. Thought he was going to stuff his nose in. He backs off. Now we're going to ride on board with the 37 of Mullins as he's got to run down the front stretch. York going to take the low approach. Mullins going to take the higher approach through the middle of the corner. Try and diamond it. Not get too close to those bumps, those turtles. Just ahead of those guys, you see the one of Shane Wolf as he's dropped quite a bit of track position. Lost quite a bit of time.
It looks like he's running a lane up. I'm not exactly sure. Oh, we almost had contact there between the 37 and 25.
Yeah, the 25 of York slowly starting to fall to the back as he's trying to keep up with the 20 of Knapp, who's slowly increasing his distance between himself and the one of Shane Wolf.
25 is now officially burned his stuff up. He's looking for some kind of caution, or pit stops should be coming soon, but I don't know how soon you want to pit and get your stuff and then have that super long run until the finish.
I think you want to look around the halfway point because we have seen Michael Lipe do that the last 2 weeks that he's been running the late model series. He's pitted around the halfway point and it's worked out well.
Yeah, I noticed though in iRacing, in these type of cars and these kind of tracks, I want to be the last guy coming down pit lane because there's going to have issues. Somebody's going to slide up and cause a caution coming into pit lane under green, most likely.
We've seen that. We see that at seen it at the first short track. I believe week 1 or 2. They actually pitted. There was a yellow, and there was like 4 or 5 guys that lapped down because of it. So. Yeah, don't want that to happen again for sure. I like that strategy.
And the question is, when do you make the pit stop? And the answer, well, we'll find out in a little bit here. It's a battle for 3rd, slowly starting to heat up as it's kind of a conga line here, 3rd through 6th. Everybody in the single file line. Well, 25 of York really got a low approach there through turns 1 and 2, and now he almost runs into the back of, almost as Shane Wolf, almost runs into the back of Knapp, as he almost ran into the back of Shane Wolf there. Here comes the 37 of Mullins on the outside, trying to get a run. Not going to be there quite yet. The 20 of Knapp on the bottom, the one of Shane Wolf on the top. This is the battle for 3rd. Still side by side as they go down the backstretch, and we could see 2 side-by-side battles depending on how the 37 of Mullins gets through.
And that 37 is pinned to the bottom in 3 and 4. He's coming.
The 20 of Knapp is on the move as well. Right now he's got the 3rd spot, but the run on the outside still keeping Shane Wolf in this.
High there.
Oh,
26 clear, I'm out of 2.
Yep, 20 of Knapp gonna get the 3rd spot right now. The 25 of York now underneath the one of Shane Wolf. These two had quite a bit of run-ins I almost said last week. 2 weeks ago in New Hampshire. Oh. There, you see the 25 of York. Oh, couldn't quite. Oh,
almost 3 wide.
Yeah, York's almost in a sandwich between 37 and the 1. As Knapp now, clean racetrack in front of him, can start to slowly drive away from these guys as they're still battling for the 4th spot. York on the bottom, Shane Wolf up top, and once again, Mullins and Hopper.
Robinson down pit lane.
Yep, the 40 of Matthew Robinson, the first car to make his pit stop. He was running second, and it's right around at the halfway point. So, trying to do the Michael Life strategy. This is all under green, by the way. Still no caution yet, as we're approaching the halfway mark of tonight's Miller Racing Graphics Summer Showdown 150. 150, 100, 50 laps down of 100. That's where the 150 came from.
And you know what? I actually applaud the patience there from the 25. You know, pretty much every week of the regular season, it just seemed like something popped up. But I have to applaud last week and this week in that battle right then. You know, somebody hang on your quarter panel or on the side of you and don't get away from you for about 4 or 5 laps. That gets really frustrating. And I applaud him for just taking his time, getting through that. Hey, look at him. He's up to third now, but just nice to see. It's a change of pace. He's got himself in a good spot in the points. I hope he does the most with it, turn his season around.
Now that we're past the halfway point, let's get a look at our field rundown presented by America's Auto Auction of Western Michigan. Up front, it's Michael Lipe. It's been Michael Lipe in the heat, and it's been Michael Lipe in the race. 52 laps down, 48 to go. That 26 car is on rails. The car in second place is Jeremy Knapp. He's also had quite a bit of a race so far. Slowly worked his way up. Right now in the second spot, it could be a big night for Jeremy Knapp. Who knows? Right behind him, you got the 25 of Jacob York trying to hold off the 37 of Cliff Mullins there for the third spot. York has he's had kind of an up and down night, although it's been a lot of ups, no downs really. Just a tire fall off. Here's the 37 of Cliff Mullins. He's been in hot pursuit of the 25 and the 20 for the last 20-30 laps or so, as he's looking like a solid contender for tonight. He's had quite a bit of success here at this racetrack, one of his favorites. And behind him, you got the one of Shane Wolf. He was running second at one point, and now he's dropped all the way to fifth. Tire fall off starting to play a big factor for some drivers more than others. Here's the 52 of Carter Coop. He slowly faded towards the sixth spot, but he stayed quiet for the most part of the night. Guy who's been really quiet for the, well, not most part, but for the entirety. The 56 of Dawson Miller. He's running 7th right now. He's got Ed Morris on his bumper. He missed the heat, and really has just been quiet. Not much to say about him. Ed Morris Sr., he had quite a bit of run-ins with a few playoff drivers last week. Looking to put that behind him. Currently running 8th right now. Got some damage there on the left front. Seems like he's always got damage on this race car. Don't know from where, but he's got damage on the left front. Rick Ward in the 34 running 9th. Another quiet night for him. Stayed out of trouble for the most part in the slick gray and black 34. There's a 36 of Caleb Steimer. He smacked the wall as the leader of Michael Lipe was going to lap him. And he mentioned in our Twitch chat that he really did not look forward to this track or didn't like his car for tonight. So he had a career high of 3rd at New Hampshire 2 weeks ago. Matthew Robinson was running 2nd at one point, with the first driver to make his pit stops. Currently running 11th right now, waiting for the field to cycle through and see where that puts him. And then the last car, Johnny Collier. Collier also made his pit stop, but he's 2 laps down right now. 2 laps down. He was in pit row for about the same distance, same time as Matthew Robinson. So really interesting to see where that plays out, because it seemed like Collier would have a big boost of confidence right now. Heading into tonight, he was currently tied for 4th in the standings, only 7 points behind the points leader Shane Wolf. Really interesting to see where that leads. So right now, your highest running playoff driver is Jeremy Knapp in the 20, followed by Cliff Mullins in 3rd, Jacob York in 4th. We missed that. Mullins up to 3rd now. And your points leader Shane Wolf dropped down to 5th. Now these drivers have yet to make their pit stops, but good night so far for Jeremy Knapp, who comes in 8th in points, a 3-way tie for 8th, 14 points back from the points leader Shane Wolf. So still got a bit of ways to go in this race, but looking like it'll be a good night for the 20, or an even better night for the 37. That Mullins machine is flying. He flew past Jacob York. He's already got about 2 seconds on him. Oh, and he's sideways. Oh, he goes over the bumps and nearly flips over. And that's going to bring out our first caution of the night. Maybe the 37 was going a little bit too fast and just lost it through 1 and 2.
Oh no, not this strikes again for the 40.
Here you see the replay there. He's trying to go on the outside of the lap car. Then he spins into those turtles. That's a divider between the pit exit and the racing surface, as you'll see. And yeah, that is that's big for the 40 of Robinson. So we stuck a lap down. Especially Collier too. We stuck 2 laps down. You see, he tries to get on the outside of the lap car. Or actually, that's not the lap car. My apologies. That's the 20 of Jeremy Knapp. But he tried to get on the outside of him to get a run, and it was just too much for him. And he nearly flipped his car over, running over those turtles. Now, I don't know if you've run over those or not, or have run over any of the rumble strips on the road courses, but kind of go through what that's like and what that could do underneath the race car.
The rumble strips at road courses aren't bad. I've actually never hit one of those down at the bottom of Myrtle Beach, so interesting choice of placement on the racetrack. But as we've seen there, you about rolled that one over.
Very interesting. Look, Michael Lipe staying out.
That was just about to touch on that topic. Michael Lipe and Dawson Miller stayed out. Caleb Steinberg, Ed Morris, Rick Ward, and Cliff Mullins have yet to make pit stops as well. Now the 26 and 56 will make their pit stops. And it looks like that could cycle the 1 of Shane Wolf to the lead.
Wonder if they missed the pit entry?
Or maybe they... I don't know. They might have, because the pit entry is turn 3. It's in turn 3. Pit road's kind of weird here. You'll see on the backstretch, there's an entry right before you get to the, there's a pit entry right before you get to turn 3. It'll be on the left side of the screen. Oh, we already passed it. No, we didn't. There it is right there. That is the pit entry. So interesting to see scoring gets evened out. Where our drivers will be running, but it looks like the leader, and we'll have to wait on scoring once more. Scoring is showing the leader, the number 1 of James Shane Wolf. So he's running 5th, losing time, and now can cycle into the lead. Oh, and it looks like we're going to go green, even though half the field is still trying to catch up. This is an interesting way of going back green, and the 1 of Shane Wolf brings it underway. You still see drivers going down the backstretch here. This is kind of an awkward start.
Yeah, this is not how it should have restarted.
We had a lot of drivers that were on the tail end of the lead lap that got waved around the pace car on that 1 to go, and that's where that happened.
Let's say you see the 26 of Lipe is 2nd, and the 3rd car in that picture, Ed Morris Sr., he's the 1st car a lap down. And there you see the next closest driver, Dawson Miller, is about 3.5 seconds back. Then you get to around Matthew Robinson, Robinson, Knapp, York, Coop. They're well over 10 seconds behind Shane Wolf. And Shane Wolf still getting attacked by Michael Lipe for the lead. That 26 car is still trying to get past the 1. He's had a dominant car all night. We have less than 30 to go here. Let's ride on board with the 26 of Lipe. Down on the bottom through 1 and 2, not trying to hit those bumps. He's got the run on Shane Wolf, almost makes contact on the door. The 1 of Shane Wolf going to get a little loose up top and going to give the lead to Michael Lipe. He just clears the 1 of Shane Wolf. That's the playoff contender, and that's big dividends for the rest of the playoff drivers as Shane Wolf loses the lead to Michael Lipe. So I'm looking through the leaderboard. This could be a big finish for the 56th Dawson Millers. He's running third right now. That 37 of Cliff Mullins, he's stuck a lap down behind the 14 and 36. Unfortunate for him. He was running third, and he was the cause of the caution. Right now, it's gotta be so frustrating for him. This is one of his favorite racetracks. Ryan, you mentioned it. This was like the cleanest track that he's raced at.
Yep.
It's unfortunate to see him currently 10th right now. Had a bad week last week. South Boston got caught up in a wreck due to lap traffic being in the way.
On the other side of that picture, though, the 56 is up to third. He was like ninth.
Yeah, the 56 of Dawson Miller. He got 6th place last week at South Boston. And he's 6th in the standings, 12 points back. And going to close the gap on him and Shane Wolf, the point stand.
About 5.5 seconds ahead of Matthew Robinson. I'm not sure if he'll lose that spot or not, but it'll be interesting to see. He would definitely close the gap on a few of those guys in front of him.
Coverage of the Rick South Late Model Series is brought to you by Dogtopia, Fredericksburg, Virginia. Healthy dogs are happy dogs at Dogtopia, Fredericksburg. Fun-filled days with your pups. Best furry friend forever. Dogtopia offers daycare and boarding spa treatments. Enroll your furry friends today at dogtopia.com. Approaching 20 to go. Still have a little over 20 laps left in the Miller Racing Graphics Summer Showdown 100. 56 of Dawson Miller right there. Currently running third, about 5.5 seconds back from the leader, Michael Lipe. He stretched his lead out to just over a second over the one of Shane Wolf, currently leading the playoff standings. Followed by the 40 of Matthew Robinson in fourth, and Jeremy Knapp rounding out the top 5. A quiet night. Oh, and not so quiet anymore. The 37 of Mullins goes around, and that's going to bring out another caution. Yep, there it is. There's the other yellow. The 34 of Rick Ward looks like he got into the back of the 37. Let's take a look at a replay here. See what happened to that 37, and the night just seems to be going from bad to worse for Cliff Mullins, and it got loose again. Same corner. And then had a little bit of help from the 34 of Rick Ward. That is really unfortunate for the 37 of Cliff Mullins. From running as high as third to running as low as 12th right now. That's just gut-wrenching to see on that 37.
And it may be the dagger for his playoffs.
Yeah, it might be, because I'm looking in the playoffs right now. He's in that three-way tie for 8th, and he needed his night. And he was running third at one point. He was doing really good, and it's just unfortunate circumstances.
Now it's going to bring these guys that were behind. Yeah.
It helped the rest of the field out. Brings Dawson Miller, Matthew Robinson, Knapp, York, Coop, and Steimer. I believe Steimer was the lucky dog that time. Brings all those guys, punches them back up.
Reported in the Twitter channel is the 37 telling us he done blew up the motor.
Motor blew up. Yeah, that's really unfortunate for a 37. It seemed like he was going to have a top 5 night, and you said he very well could be a winner at this track, as Ryan mentioned that this is his favorite track. This is the cleanest track that he races at. And he was running really well too, so unfortunate to see him go out too soon. But it does bunch up the rest of the playoff drivers, so who knows, maybe, just maybe 37 Mullins can still move up in the points. As we see the biggest movers of the race so far, Dawson Miller up 9 spots. We mentioned that he started dead last because he missed the first and only heat. So he's up 9 spots in the third right now, and Rick Ward, the other biggest mover, up 1 spot. And everybody else stayed in their starting spots.
Or they went backwards.
Yeah. See the field slowly starting to double up. We'll get the one to go signal this time by.
Here's their shot to see if they got anything for this 26. I think this is their last shot at it.
Yeah, there go the pace lights are out. Mentioned my pick of Jacob York still in 6th right now is running on board Dawson Miller. Harold, who was your pick again?
Carter Coop in the 52. He's the 7th.
Carter Coop right behind him. Ryan, who was your pick?
Well, I called him Lipe before the race.
Oh,
but it's
Lipe. Michael Lipe, or better known as Michael Lipe. He's had the dominant car all night, and he'll bring the field back to green, possibly for the final time here at Myrtle Beach. 15 laps to go. Don't know if he switched lanes before the start-finish line.
It looked like it. That's going to be questionable.
That is questionable. If he did come up, then that will be a penalty for him, and that could give the lead to the one of Shane Wolf. 56 of Dawson Miller right now, keeping it up. Lipe nearly got on the wall there. Oh, and the yellow's out. The caution is out once more. I'm trying to look on the track and see who might have. It might be Matthew Robinson in the 40. Another. It's a quick yellow. We're going to try and bring it back here on the replay. I believe it was the 40 of Matthew Robinson. Cause of the caution here, as you see right behind him, Jacob York. Oh, he sent it in a little too deep. Oh, and it collects the 52 of Carter Coop. Nowhere for him to go as he was running on the outside. Unfortunate for him. He's having a really clean night. Most of these guys are having a really clean night. I would imagine that the 25 of Jacob York would get the EOL here for this caution. That bunches the field up again. Try and chase down this 26 Michael Lipe. He's just too strong, too dominant tonight.
Still awaiting the questionable call on that lane change at that last restart. I don't understand that one at all.
Harold, I don't know if we can go back to the restart here. He did move up on the restart. The question was it before or after he crossed the start-finish line?
When we go to that, I was just trying to see where York is claiming the... York was the one that helped out the 40, and he took the... he has his hand up in chat saying that it's me.
So, yeah, the 25 of York, he's taking blame for that one. So he got in a little... Yeah, because he went up on that onboard. Oh. Oh, if we go back just a little bit. Go back to that. This is before. This is leading up to the restart. I believe that should be a penalty if he does clear himself in front of the leader before the start-finish line. He'll be switching lanes.
And I believe he's clearly in front of the one.
Yeah, he moved up in front of him.
Yeah, there shouldn't be any question about it.
Interesting to see. So the 40 of Robinson's still on pit road, and this is live right now. They're doubling up, and doesn't look like a penalty to the 26. So
we'll have to see within the first couple laps of it being green. I'm not sure how they'd assess that, if it would be a drive-through or what, or even if it's not a penalty. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it very well could not be a penalty, but in most cases, if you switch lanes, I think we had it once earlier this year. Restart violations would probably be at the back or a drive-through. Not too sure as we're coming to the green flag once more here. The 26 of Michael Lipe.
He
Down on the
clearly
bottom.
didn't do it that time.
He didn't. Yeah, he did not do it that time. He stayed on the bottom. Here comes the one of Shane Wolf with a monster run here, coming out of 2. And, yep, there he goes. The 26 of Lipe down pit road. It's going to be a drive-through. That second to last restart, he went up and cleared himself in front of Shane Wolf before he got to the start-finish line. So that's going to be a drive-through penalty for the 26. That puts the one of Shane Wolf into first, and that puts the 56 of Dawson Miller into second. We got a side-by-side battle for third, but imagine if Dawson Miller wins this race. The 20th nap on the bottom, the 52 of Coop up top. You got the 36 of Caleb Steimer, who was last at one point. He's trying to fight for a top 5.
If that 56 gets the victory lanes, old Mullins is going to be burnt down later tonight.
Ed Morris got on the rumble strips there, or the turtles. Still going straight. The foul for third continues to heat up. It's at 56 of Miller right now. He's just hoping and praying that he can catch the one, but he's running out of time to do so. Oh, and he got a little loose there, and he's trying to save the car, and he will.
Great save.
Great save from the 56 of Dawson Miller. He's losing time to the one. Now he's just going to try and hold on to get the second spot, but he's got a conga line behind him as well. Going back from the 52 of Coop all the way to the, I think it's the 33 of Johnny Collier. Yep, and now here comes the 52 of Coop with a little bit of a run here. 56 of Miller used his tires up just a bit. He is trying to hold on to that second spot for dear life. He wants to get as much points as he can in this playoff battle. They're starting to slowly stack up. Here comes the 20th nap, trying to look underneath the 52 of Coop. Couldn't quite get there. Now he's getting hit from behind by Jacob York with Ed Morris Sr. behind him. Ed Morris is still lapped down.
It's going to be interesting to see if somebody gets sent here.
Could very well happen.
Coop went low.
Nap went high, going through the corner. He's trying to get a run starting, and here comes the 25 of York below him. That's for the 4th spot. 2 laps to go. It's all James Shainwolf with a 2.5-second lead on Dawson Miller. And everybody here in the dogfight for 2nd, 3rd, 4th on back. Don't believe we'll get a yellow, and here comes Shainwolf off of turn 4 with the white flag. 1 more lap to go in the Miller Racing Graphics Summer Showdown here at Myrtle Beach. He's stretching out to a 3-second lead, and due to Michael Leip's misfortune of clearing himself before getting to the start-finish line, it's going to hand the victory to that number 1 of James Shainwolf, and he'll go back-to-back in the playoffs and win at Myrtle Beach. Now for 2nd, Dawson Miller's going to get it, and Jacob York's going to move up to 3rd. Boy, what a night for Jacob York. Worked his way up to 3rd. That's going to be huge for him because the one of Shainwolf's gone back-to-back. One at South Boston. He's won tonight at Myrtle Beach. And the 26 of Michael Leip going to come home 8th after serving the drive-through penalty. We're getting word now on pit road that the 56 of Dawson Miller, he's lost the $50.
Well, actually, if you think about it, right behind this guy, if anything would have happened to Shainwolf, you had a Miller Racing Graphics train sitting right behind him. So.
Yeah. The Miller Racing Graphics conga line, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Miller, York, and Coop. So one of Shainwolf there doing burnouts once more. Oh, he's going to hit the wall so he can pass post-race inspection. Seen that a time or two before. So he's going to go right ahead and park it right on the checkered box there on the front stretch. So he is your winner tonight for the Miller Racing Graphics Summer Showdown 100. So here's your look at the race-winning car. Right, what a night of racing we had. Here's your finishing results presented by America's Auto Auction of Western Michigan. The one of James Shainwolf goes back-to-back. He wins tonight. Dawson Miller comes home 2nd with a very, very impressive 2nd place finish. Jacob York moving up a couple spots on the last few laps to get 3rd. Carter Coop 4th. Jeremy Knapp going to get a top 5. Caleb Steimer was a lap down at one point and rallied back to get 6th. Good run for him. Johnny Collier, same thing for him. He was last. He was 2 laps down, and he worked his way for a 7th place finish. That's good for him. Michael Leib was your dominant driver of the night, but on the second to last restart, he cleared himself in front of Shainwolf before he got to the start-finish line, and that resulted in a drive-through penalty on that last restart, which gave the win to Shane Wolf. So Michael Leip comes home 8th, Ed Morris 9th, Rick Ward 10th, and then 11th is Matthew Robinson, and 12th is Cliff Mullins. Tough break for both of those guys, especially Cliff Mullins. Back-to-back weeks where he's gotten caught up in a wreck. And here's your race recap presented by Extreme Motorsports. James Shane Wolf was your winner. Had 3 cautions for 15 laps. It was a very, very quiet night until the very end. And James Shane Wolf, once again, fastest lap with a 20.0305. Final thoughts, Ryan?
Oh man, the great weeks for the guys like Miller, York, Lipe. Unfortunately, though, kind of blew that one. Hate to see that, but you can't do those lane changes. They bite us in the upper series, and they bite us here. So, what a week!
Indeed.
We'll probably be back next week.
Yep, next week, the Rick Tsatsas Late Model Series goes up to the Milwaukee Mile for the Country Road Sports Cards 100 for race number 3 of the 5-race playoffs, where James Shanwolf leads the way. From everybody here, from Harold Darner, our producer, Ryan Swan, I'm Hunter Sleppy saying so long, and we'll see you next week.
What an exciting race brought to you by Wendigo Studios. Here they come out of turn 4 to the white flag, and it's 1 to go. Thank you to all our sponsors, drivers, and viewers. We'll see you at the next turn.